United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So,
Oh, sorry, I'm on the wrong one. I apologize. One second.
yeah, but
One second.
we have to do it. That's where I need first.
Irma, I don't find the document for 615. I only have the 625 one. Am I missing something?
She's missing this agenda, the 6:15 agenda.
Consuelo, what we're going to do is, Ms. Hernandez, what we're going to do is the swearing in first of our elected and appointed board members. And then, so we're going to have to suspend the organizational meeting just for a few moments so we can do the swearing in. And then we'll reconvene back into the special meeting.
Okay.
Thank you.
I don't see a document for that. Is someone doing that in person? I'm imagining reading the document over for that.
Mr. Dustin Williams is here, and he'll officiate the swearing in.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. Ms. Hernandez? Mr. Williams is going to do the oath of office for Mr. Rodriguez, Mr. Bustamante, and Mr. Jaramillo. And then once those are done, he's going to do a one-on-one with you virtually.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, please come on up to the front here so we can get the show on the road. Welcome, everyone. My name is Dustin Williams. I'm the elected Pima County School Superintendent. If I don't give a hug here, I could be in big trouble, actually. I'm really honored to be here. Superintendent Costello, member of the board, thank you so much for having me and asking me to come and swear in these fine gentlemen. And I just want to say that we here in Pima County, as the elected superintendent, we are so proud of this district. We love these kiddos. We love the staff of this organization, this entire school. Consuelo, I can see you on there. Don't worry. We're going to make sure that I get you after them so it's easier for you virtually. So you get to pick a couple things. One is when we say solemnly swear or solemnly affirm. So you just choose however you'd like to say that. When I repeat it, we're going to do all three at first. Are we ready? Without further ado, Superintendent, we're okay? We're ready, okay. Okay. That's right. Please raise your right hand. There we go. Okay. State of Arizona, County of Pima.
Arizona, County of Pima.
I state your name.
I, Roberto Jaramillo,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution and laws of the state of Arizona,
and the Constitution and laws of Arizona,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
and defend them against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
and defend them against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
and that I will faithfully and impartially
and faithfully and impartially
discharge the duties of the office
discharge the duties of the office
of the governing board of Sunnyside Unified School District,
of the Board of Sunnyside Unified School District,
according to the best of my abilities, so help me God.
according to the best of my abilities, so help me God.
Big round of applause. How about that right there, ladies and gentlemen? I'm going to give you guys a shake your hand. Congrats, sir. That's right. Absolutely.
We'll take a group photo. Mr. Rodriguez? Yeah. We'll get a group photo. Superintendent Costello, we'll get a group photo.
Becky, make sure you do the rabbit ears for.
Oh, okay.
I can still see you, Becky.
Okay.
All right, ready? 1, 2, and 3.
All right, right here. Ready, 1, 2, 3.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Okay, can come out.
Okay, Miss Hernandez, are you there? This is a first for me, everyone. I mean, we're really getting technology at its finest. Okay, I'm going to read it kind of, you can hear me good, so you can repeat. Okay, perfect. Okay, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, please repeat after me. State of Arizona, County of Pima.
I can't hear anything. On you, Pima?
Try this one.
Okay.
You have to kind of bend over.
And do I press the button?
It's, no, just speaking.
Okay. State of Arizona, County of Pima.
State of Arizona, County of Pima.
I state your name.
I, Consuelo Hernandez,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution and laws of the state of Arizona,
and the Constitution and laws of the state of Arizona,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
that I will bear truth and faith in allegiance to the same,
and defend them against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
and defend them against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
and that I will faithfully and impartially
and that I will faithfully and impartially
discharge the duties of the office
discharge the duties of the office
of the governing board of Sunnyside Unified School District,
of the governing board of Sunnyside Unified School District,
according to the best of my abilities, so help me God.
according to the best of my abilities, so help me.
Congratulations. We have Ms. Consuelo Hernandez as our next governing board member here.
Thank
Should we do a little picture with her in the background? Consuelo, we will be taking a picture. Thank you very much. If you ever need anything.
Got you on speed dial.
Ms. Hernandez, you can now call the meeting back to reconvene for the special meeting.
Okay, do I start in calling the meeting to order and have to do everything over again?
No, just start where you left off, which is the
Okay.
roll call.
Yeah, okay, roll call of the board,
Ms. Hernandez?
present.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Here.
Ms. Quintero?
Present.
Mr. Bustamante?
Here.
Mr. Jaramillo?
Present.
Thank you.
Can I get approval of the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as submitted.
Second.
Roll call,
Ms. Hernandez?
aye.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Quintero?
Aye.
Mr. Bustamante?
Aye.
Mr. Jaramillo?
Aye.
And, then we just adjourn the meeting, correct, after this? Or do I have to?
The next on the agenda is the general functions, which is the election of officers, the office of president for the 2023 calendar year.
Okay,
You'll want to open that up for nominations.
can we open it for nominations?
Madam Chairman, I'd like to nominate Becky Quintero for President 2023 of the Governing Board.
Second.
Roll call?
Do we have a third?
Yeah, sorry. I vote as well. And to nominate Becky. Ms. Quintero.
Perfect. Roll call will be Ms. Hernandez,
Aye.
Mr. Rodriguez,
Yes?
Mr. Bustamante,
Yes.
Mr. Jaramillo.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any nominations for office of clerk?
Oh, thank you. Thank you for that job. I appreciate it. So then,
Ms. Hernandez, now that we have a new board president, we're going to let Mrs. Quintero take over the rest of the special meeting, and then she'll also manage the regular meeting.
Gotcha. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
thank you, thank you, everyone, thank you. I'll open nominations for clerk for 2023.
I nominate, excuse me, I nominate Ted Rodriguez.
Second.
I have any more nominations for clerk? Hearing none. Roll call.
Ms. Hernandez,
Aye.
Mrs. Quintero,
Aye.
Mr. Bustamante,
Aye.
Mr. Jaramillo.
Aye.
Thank you.
So that closes the organizational meeting. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion?
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Hernandez? We'll be voting to,
Aye.
thank you. Mr. Rodriguez,
Yes?
Mr. Bustamante,
Yes.
Mr. Jaramillo,
Aye.
Ms. Quintero.
Aye. Thank you. So this meeting is closed and we begin the other meeting, our next meeting. Call this meeting to order. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call of the board.
Ms. Hernandez,
Present.
Mr. Rodriguez.
Here.
Mrs. Quintero,
Present.
Mr. Bustamante,
Here.
Mr. Jaramillo.
Present.
Thank you.
Thank you. Can I have approval of the agenda as submitted?
A motion to approve the agenda as submitted.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Hernandez,
Aye.
Mr. Rodriguez,
Yes.
Mr. Bustamante,
Yes.
Mr. Jaramillo,
Aye.
Ms. Quintero.
Aye. Thank you. Do we have any board comments? Mr. Jaramillo?
What can I say? It's nice to see all these friendly faces out there, familiar faces. And like Ms. Dung says, nobody likes a long-winded board member, so I'm glad to be back. Thank you.
Mr. Bustamante, have any comments?
You know, it's good to be here today for the reason that we got a full board together finally. And hopefully we can be more successful this year than the previous years. But time will tell. So thank you very much.
Mr. Rodriguez, have any comments?
Welcome back, everybody. Happy New Year. Belated Happy New Year. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays to all of you. Fortunate enough to attend the 65th Annual ASBA Conference in Phoenix for 3 days, which was, let me tell you, unbelievably helpful. So many, the whole state was represented. We're representing almost 1 million kids statewide now, the ASBA. One of the things that I was so proud of was that everywhere I go, they knew who Sunnyside was because of Eva Carrillo Dong. Eva Carrillo Dong is, she leaves a legacy at the Arizona state level that is unparalleled, unmatched anywhere. It was, I was proud to be Sunnyside because of the path that Eva led and carved for all of us to follow. There's no way I'm going to be here 23 years like her. Absolutely not. But let me tell you, I mean, it was proud to wear my Sunnyside badge because I knew that Eva Carrillo Dong, everywhere that they saw Sunnyside, reflected on us because of what Carrillo had done in the past. Ms. Dong, you'll never be forgotten as far as the state level goes or what you've done for our district. Nobody can tell you thank you enough for what you've done. And everywhere we went, every meeting we went to, every presentation we went to, Eva Carrillo Dong was mentioned. It doesn't matter what level. So we have something very proud, and something to be very proud of. So it's too bad that she left, but I hope her health gets her in the right direction and she's up, and I'm glad she's here in the audience. I really appreciate her being here. Again, there's so many things to learn. One of the things that I took away from that is that we've got a lot to be proud of. We've got a good, solid foundation. We've got good curriculum. We've got good teachers, excellent leadership. One of the things that I want to do is be the best board member I can. And so I'm not going to stop learning anything I do to, my goal is to visit every school, make myself known, let them know who I am, what I can do. And I'm only one person, but we've got a heck of a board. And again, thank you for the opportunity for letting me attend that conference. It was really worth the money. And I can't look forward, you look forward to the next one. So again, thank you very much. And let's get 2023 on board. And again, thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Hernandez, do you have any board comments?
Yes, I'll echo a bit of what was just said, but welcome back, everyone. I'm excited to have you all. I hope you had an great. And I also was able to have the opportunity to attend the conference and took some ideas back. I reached out the next day to Mr. Gastelum and said I'd like to see some of these programs in our district that will benefit our students and The other thing is, I was really proud to have Mr. Gastelum as my guest here on opening day at the state legislature, representing Sunnyside. Thank you.
Thank you. And I as well would like to thank everyone back, and I'm wishing you all a big warm welcome. Thank you. And also there's going to be a health and wellness fair at Apollo tomorrow from 4:30 to 7:30. There's going to be vaccinations, physical, school supplies, bike repair, and dental and health information tomorrow, so be there. Also, sincere condolences to the Mission Manor and Star families, as we lost 2 beloved teachers over the break. So, sincere condolences. Superintendent's report.
Thank you, Ms. Quintero, Madam President, members of the board, members of the audience. First and foremost, I'd like to welcome back all staff and students, and looking forward to an amazing 2023 school year. Have to get used to saying that, right? 2023. You know, as there's a lot of swearing in going on today, you know, and there was yesterday, as Ms. Hernandez mentioned. You know, I had the pleasure of accompanying Ms. Hernandez at the state capitol for the official swearing-in ceremony as she took her seat at the Arizona House of Representatives to represent District 21. As an alumni of our district, I'm proud to say that Ms. Hernandez is paving the way for a new generation of public servants, and we're very lucky to have her serving on our governing board as well. I wish Ms. Hernandez nothing but the best, and I know you'll continue to represent and serve our community. Junior Achievement Day at Santa Clara on December 13th. Junior Achievement of Arizona hosted JA Day at Santa Clara Elementary School. On JA Day, the nonprofits take over an entire school in every class, teaching students financial literacy, work readiness, and entrepreneurship skills that prepare them to succeed in work and life. Junior Achievement will visit more of our schools this year, so a big thank you for them for these critical life skills as they bring them to our students. Winter graduation. We had over 65 students from Desert View High School, Star Academic High School, and Sunnyside High School that graduated with their high school diplomas and celebrated with their families during the winter graduation. We're excited to see that many of these students will be continuing their education at Pima Community College and the University of Arizona. And if you had a chance to attend, it was definitely a packed house. Miracle en el Barrio, the Desert View Precision Manufacturing and Drafting Program, and the Yes Club volunteered their time before the break to assemble over 2,000 giveaway bags for the 20th annual Miracle en el Barrio. The day of the event, Los Diablitos de Sunnyside mariachi group performed a few songs to entertain families attending the event. This has become a flagship volunteer event for our district, and we're proud to participate in an event that so greatly benefits children in our community. Audrey Jimenez dominates wrestling tournaments. Over the winter break, Sunnyside High School wrestler Audrey Jimenez won the title of Mile High Challenge Wrestling Tournament champion. She competed in the 106-pound weight class. In a different wrestling tournament, she also made history when she became the first woman to win in any weight class in the 56-year-old Peoria Tournament of Champions. We are very proud of Audrey's continued success, both on the mat and in the classroom, and she's definitely a role model for our student athletes. And we've said this time and time again, she's not only a great student athlete, but definitely a remarkable student, carrying over a 4.0 GPA. I believe it's a 4.2 GPA, and on track to graduate within 3 years. Also want to recognize her Blue Devil teammates, Sean Archuleta, James Armstrong, Sergio Vega, Carlos Stanton, Aiden Bostic, Christian Rivera, Job Lee, Mike Avalar, and Nicholas Pina, who also won their weight classes in the Peoria Invitational Tournament. Sunnyside took first place overall in the tournament, and the Blue Devils outscored the second place team, Mesa Mountain View High School, by more than twice as many points. Congratulations, Blue Devils. Congratulations to the Blue Devils wrestling team, and I believe this weekend they have the Flowing Wells Invitational that will be hosted at Flowing Wells High School. Future cities at Lawford Middle School. Students from Lawford Middle School spent their winter break Building a Better Tomorrow, and were able to share their projects with Pima County Superintendent Dustin Williams. I wish he would have stuck around to hear this. With the Pima Community Share Grant, Ms. Nichols was able to provide materials and local experts to her future cities students to help them create blueprints for their cities. Gallego ribbon cutting ceremony. Students at Gallego Intermediate are enjoying a brand new field this second semester as one of the community bond projects. We would like to thank the bond committee for overseeing this project and the maintenance department for getting this field ready for our students to celebrate the new upgrades. Students gathered yesterday morning for a ribbon cutting ceremony and ran the length of the field to break in the ground for great use. This concludes the superintendent's report. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, should we all step down for our recognition?
So if Marisa wants to come up with her family and join us up here, or Marisa, and then we'll have the family come up with for a picture. Sorry. Yeah. Yep. So for the newer board members or the returning board members, we've kind of switched the format a little bit. So I read the recognitions, and then after the recognition is done, we invite board members to say a few comments if they'd like, and then our honoree as well. So tonight we're recognizing Marisa Partida from Desert View High School. She's one of the 5 Arizona nominees for the 2022-23 U.S. Presidential Scholars in Career and Technical Education. Marisa was selected by then Arizona Superintendent of Public Instruction, Kathy Hoffman. The nomination was submitted to the Commission on Presidential Scholars at the U.S. Department of Education. As a semifinalist nominee, Marisa has been invited to apply for the national review by the Commission on Presidential Scholars. 20 outstanding U.S. Presidential Scholars and CTE, or Career and Technical Education students from throughout the U.S. will be announced in May, with the National Scholar Recognition Program in June. Marisa was selected by a review team consisting of CTE stakeholders based on evidence of academic rigor, technical competence, professional employability skills, and ingenuity and creativity. Congratulations for all of your accomplishments as a hospitality management student at Desert View High School. So we've got So just today, well, between this week, actually, after returning from winter break, we received some additional recognitions and news that Marisa had received more awards. So I just wanted to share that with you tonight. She continues to excel, obviously. So we got the news today that Marisa was selected as the Bally Sports Arizona, or the Taco Bell Student Athlete Citizen Award winner for the month of February. So athletes who receive this award carry a GPA of 3.3 or greater and have extracurricular involvement and are making a positive impact in their sport, but also in the community. I hear that you're an awesome golfer, so. So Marisa will be featured in an on-air promo that runs during the Bally Sports Arizona programming and on social media platforms and on Bally Sports website. And then, if that's not enough, Marisa was also selected to be the recipient of the 2022 DECA Emerging Leader Honor Award, an award that recognizes business students for being academically prepared, community-oriented, professionally responsible, and experienced leaders through their participation in DECA. So congratulations again on all of those awards. So if
We are so proud of you. Congratulations. I remember being in DECA. It was so much fun. Years ago. Thank you.
Congratulations and keep up the good work. You represent the district very, very well.
Thank you so much for doing what you do and represent well, not Desert View, but the whole Sunnyside Unified School District. So thank you and best of luck to you.
Congratulations. Keep up the great work. You're a heck of a role model for all our students. Thank you.
So I just want to end it with a few words here. So congratulations, Marisa. We're super proud of you as a district, and as said here, you're definitely representing our community well, not only as a student academically, but as mentioned earlier, as on the field as well as a golfer. And so, we're only in January, and she's already, receiving all these awards, which is very nice. And it's due to your hard work. It's due for you working hard towards your academics and really preparing yourself for a bright future. And so I also want to thank Ms. Duddleston, your principals here. You got Mr. Reyes, I believe, was your nominating teacher for some of these awards that are here. And so is that your Summit View former principal? She's going to take credit for it as well. So we'll just go ahead and mention Ms. Montaño. But I also want to thank the family for being here. The Partidas. I happened when I ran into Marisa, I said, Marisa Partida. I said, by the way, is your dad Danny Partida? And she says, yes. And I'm like, how are you so smart? No, I'm kidding. No, Danny was very smart and also a very good athlete. Played some solid right field for us, back in, when we played for Sunnyside in baseball. So, beautiful family and you got a bright future ahead of you and keep up the great work. Very proud of you.
Okay, ready on three. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and 3.
Recognitions?
Yep.
That's good. That's a good spot.
Moving to the consent agenda, can I have a motion? Mr. Jaramillo,
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda submitted.
do you have a second?
Second?
Roll call?
Ms. Hernandez? Ms. Hernandez? Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Mr. Bustamante?
Yes.
Mr. Jaramillo?
Aye.
Ms. Quintero?
Aye, thank you. General functions? Instructional focus update?
Evening, President Quintero. Welcome, governing board members. Welcome back, governing board members. Superintendent Castello. Want to do a kind of a high-level overview, intro, review for some, intro for others, and in a few minutes I'm going to invite part of a Desert View team up to talk to you a little bit about some of the work that we've been doing and that's been happening. But just really wanted to kind of touch base on where we're at. January is the state of the state time, so let's do one here as well, right? I want to start with the two images that you see. The one that you see that's behind you as well, the graduate profile, is probably the most public-facing image that we have. And the words around the outside, identity, purpose, and agency, really hold deep meaning for us. For many of our colleagues around the nation that we've met with at conferences and stuff, everyone has a graduate profile. But they're most often a poster that hangs on the wall. Kids don't know what it is, teachers don't know what it is. It's really just a nice image that's there. But I can tell you from its inception and as we continue to develop it, and we'll probably spend some time this year moving into next year doing some updating and to it. But the 3 words on that outside ring stay the same. Identity, purpose, and agency truly is what guides our work. The second image that you see on that slide is our coherence framework. And that coherence framework we developed and have iterated it multiple times over the past probably 6 years. But I will tell you, it truly is the lens by which we make decisions that have to do with kids and things that we do. The outside, the blue ring that you see, that's all the outside things that come together that help support it. The green ring that you see in there, formative assessment, deeper learning, and equitable instruction, those are grounding principles for us in how we do what we do. So when we make decisions about curriculum, when we make decisions about interventions, about consultants, about people who want to do research with us, anything that happens, we truly, truly use this as our lens to make those decisions. We have a theory of action and a theory of change that we put in play with our administrators at the beginning of each year. These are not unfamiliar images. Our principals see them almost every time we meet, that we constantly talk through them. But the center, that instructional core, is where what really happens for kids. We're truly trying to be mindful about what happens in that space. That instructional core that you see is teacher, student, and content. That's what makes up that triangle. And living in the center of that really is agency. So these 2 images are connected. But the reason I'm taking the time to talk about it is because it really, truly sets the framework for us to make the decisions that we do at our level and in conjunction with the principals, what we ask them to do with the students. And you're going to hear from the students, and this will all come full circle in just a few minutes. Maybe. There we go. Semester 1, just a quick update. We talked a lot about, for some of you, we talked early about the changes, the major adjustments over the past 2 years in the report card and really making those adjustments to, I thought it was your magic over mine that was there, right? Okay, thanks. Oh, turn it on. Oh, it's all the hard stuff. I got to do the hard stuff, Shane. The work around the report cards and the progress reports and the transcripts process, that has been not without its growing pains. And we have released our first full semester report card through this time. And we're still learning, we're still growing, but happy to report that we are seeing and making some positive adjustments as we go. We'll continue to do that. Eligibility practices. I have to tell you that our ACOs and our ADs have been so helpful about coming together. They come to my office and sit at the table and really try to think through how they can help support the coaches as we bring forward student athletes that are excelling in the classroom and that know that learning holds that place that the athlete holds or extracurricular holds, whether they're a band student or whatever that is. And the continuation of that refinement around teacher practice with this. So this is not done. This is an ongoing, constant piece that we'll be working through. But we have made it through semester 1 and a release of that new report card that's there. We talked to you before about New Teacher Institute that is in play. We meet with those new teachers monthly. Mary Montaño, the Director of Professional Development, has a team. She's already making plans for new teacher orientation upcoming at the next school year as we really think through how do we retain the teachers that we bring on and how do we really hire and train in solid teachers and our subs. And because we know we have a lot of long-term subs that are in play. So what are the things that we're doing to make sure that, one, they have a place to meet and talk through, but that we can also address them to their need and not just kind of full-scale professional learning that doesn't really sit where new teachers are in that space. We talked about the 100 lead learners. Those are at all grade levels. We have them from all sites. They're engaging with each other, really trying to build their understanding of the formative assessment practice work and how that speaks to identity and purpose and agency in those spaces. So they will continue to meet. We also have our site leadership teams that meet monthly. That's our instructional coaches, our assistant principals, and ABSSs, and our principals. And one of the things that and Angelica Dustin was one of the people who used to harp on me about this. It's important that our assistant principals and our ABSSs get the same level of training that our principals and coaches get, because they also evaluate. And we know from a Grow Your Own, those also become our leaders. And so we have really tried to be diligent and look at, we have a lot of new leaders this year saying, how do we really address and meet all of our leaders in that space as we move this forward? Leadership Academy, speaking of Grow Your Own, we just started our Leadership Academy, and we have 30 aspiring leaders, and those are from, I think we have kindergarten through 12th grade, actually. We have a wide variety of teachers, of academic interventionists, different positions, even some current ABSS. There are instructional coaches that are coming in who are really expressing an interest into becoming not just a leader, but a leader in Sunnyside. It's a really solid group. Mr. Costello got to address them when they first came on board, and we invited them to the last celebration as well, so that they were here. We meet with them monthly. Here's the key piece for us. It's not just about the logistics and the management. We know there are HR issues, finance issues, maintenance things. That's an important part of that principal piece. But if we cannot develop a strong instructional leader, all of that is for naught. So we have to have solid running systems, but we have to have leaders who deeply understand learning and are able to help provide feedback that moves their teachers, their leadership team, and their students forward. So that's our commitment. Ana Gallegos, myself, Mary Montaño, and Jim Ridge are currently working to really develop that leadership pipeline. We are spending a lot of time on these three things that you see. Grow your own commitment. We are committed to this. We believe deeply that the leaders who are successful quickly in our system come from our system. I could speak to that personally, came from the system as well. Many here in this room in those same ways. We do things with such intentionality, it's difficult to school people up fast enough that doesn't create noise in the system. So that's a challenge. We also have to balance that with knowing we have to have outside perspective to also keep a balance in what we see and how we do things. So as we build this pipeline, we've reached out to a lot of different school districts in the country who are taking this approach, because the same as teacher shortages, there are principal shortages. There are superintendent shortages. There are leadership shortages that are occurring. We want to make sure that we're ready as we have people who retire or take other positions, that we have a solid base of leaders of our own that we're being able to bring into this space. We already have leadership pools. All of our principal interviews, assistant principal, coaches, AI, all come from a pool process where interested candidates interview with a district-wide committee first. If they make it through that first level, they're considered in a pool for consideration. If they're in a pool, when a specific school or position opens up, then those candidates that are already in the pool can choose to be considered, and then that's where the school team comes into play with additional support from us, and the matches are really made. So we want to make sure our pool has a lot of people in our pool. So part of our Leadership Academy work is to really encourage those leaders to really want to do the work, because it's not, I'll be honest, we're not easy about, it's just, you can't just come and be all willy-nilly as a leader in our district. Like, we're intentional about our kids. That means you're intentional about leading. And so that level of commitment it's tough. And we're also working on developing what's that coaching and mentoring program for our existing principals. We have a lot of new leaders. How do we do that better? How do we coach and mentor our new leaders? And then how do we build those of our leaders to be the coaches and mentors of others coming in? So we're really excited. We just kicked it off. I think we've met twice, I believe. And we have meetings monthly throughout. So if you ever are interested in stopping by, we'll make sure Irma has the dates, and you're welcome to pop in and take a look at our aspiring leaders in that space. I'm going to skip that piece. The West Ed Consultant Services. So we have a West Ed team of consultants. Nancy Gerzon is our lead consultant, and she has, there's actually 5 of them altogether. Most of the time it's just 3 who come. And we have had a long-standing relationship with them since before we hired them as consultants. We did work around the formative work 6 years ago when we started this. But as we developed more and more, the ability for that team to help push us and scale what we could do for our kids faster in the classroom, rather than having just bright spots of excellence around, we really wanted something that speaks to agency for students and student identity as a learner. And so we needed the support to do that, and WestEd has been our partner. We have been fortunate with ESSER monies to be able to bring that on for we're in year 2, and we have another year coming of it. But that means that team, national team from WestEd, comes and spends an entire week with us. Last year, they came once a month and spent a week with us the whole year. And this year, we have them about every 6 weeks. They spend an entire day with principals. They spend an entire day with our teacher coaches. They spend a day with our AP and ABSSs doing the training. They work specifically, one of them is working with both of our high schools as they develop into scale and spread there, which is more difficult. They work with our curriculum team. They're the ones who, when we showed you our summer work, where we had 150 teachers that came together in the summer in the Sierra gym to do that work, they're the ones who helped us do that. So I wanted to surface that work here because it's not cheap work. And it's the principals in the room and the teachers in the room will tell you it's intensive work that's there. But what we're starting to see take shape in our classroom is phenomenal. It's really cool to go places and to hear people say, oh yeah, we heard about the work you guys are doing. Oh yeah, we've seen that. Oh yeah, can we come and visit? Like they're starting to recognize that there's evidence of things shifting, and our main shift is to change the student role in learning. It cannot be the delivery service of learning from us to the students. It has to be the students becoming agentic, identifying as a learner, finding purpose in that learning, and then moving that forward. So that WestEd partnership, that consultant partnership, will continue. For this year, we'll be having changes and into next year. So I wanted to highlight that for you. But the favorite part of what we're going to do, this all has helped us get to what you're going to see here. We have 2 teachers and 4 of our students from Desert View who are here, and they have really been working this year intentionally and specifically to really, if I were going to call them something, I'd tell you they're ambassadors of learning. They really are moving themselves to the point where they can talk about it. They can really articulate what it is to have agency. What does that mean? What does it mean? How has learning shifted for them? What does that mean? When we say to change the student role in learning, that's all good and fine on a poster somewhere, but what does it mean in real life? What does that look like? What does that feel like to the teacher, to the student as we move across? This panel, they've done a couple things. They're going to take it on the road soon, I'm sure. But they have presented to all of our principals once as a practice round, and we just sort of rapid fire questions at them with their teachers. But more recently, in October, they served on a national conference. It was a virtual, make it hard enough, national conference put on by the Aurora Institute, headlined by some major names in educational research in some of these pieces. And they were magnificent. The way they can talk about and answer questions and think about the work it's truly amazing. So that's a clip for you at your leisure. We're not going to play it in here because I have them live, but I really encourage you. It is just a 7-minute clip from the whole conference session that they did with their 2 teachers who are also here. But that's when I think about kids from Sunnyside who are speaking at a national conference about learning. That's powerful. Kids can talk about what they do. Here's I did it like this. But for kids to be able to speak deeply about what learning is and what does that look and feel like it's profound. And our consultants tell you there's not a lot of kids out in the nation who can do this. So we're really, as you could tell, really proud of these kids. We will also be, before I have them come up, we will be hosting part of the Assessment for Learning Projects National Conference in Tucson. It will be at La Paloma, I believe it is, or Ventana Canyon, one of them. But Sunnyside has a very active role where we're hosting 5 excursions from people all over the country. We'll be coming to different sessions. We have some of our principals, Matt Kraft and William Cotter, are doing a session. We have Larissa Peru and Casey Button, who will be talking a little bit. They're also hosting one with their students that are there, and even more students. We have Sam Fernandez and Gina Valdez Badia at the coaches at Rivera. They're hosting a session. Ernie Badia is hosting a session with the Native American advisors, and we're just really excited to have visitors coming into our district to see who we are and what we're about for learning. So I'll share those dates with you as they get close, and you're more than welcome to attend, to pop in to see those. So without further ado, I want to invite the Desert View team. One of them you'll recognize. It was just up here a moment ago. But students and teachers, come on up, and their principal should like. Once they get up here, I'm going to, I'll let them introduce themselves. They're all very busy seniors, right, in this space, so I'm glad that we can to have them in. But I want the students just to introduce themselves, tell you where they're at, and for you guys, just sort of the questions that you've thought about before. When you think about learning, right, what do you think about agency? When people talk about agency, what does that really mean? What are examples of what that is? How has your classroom experience changed over that last little bit of time? What does that look and feel like to you? How do you see yourself different as a learner? Anything in those spaces that you want to talk about? One of the things that I would also like them to add, though, at some point in the conversation is how they've seen, because some of these students have had these teachers for more than 1 year in different times, right? And I want them to also share with you how they've seen their teachers grow, because one of the big ahas that we had a while back was, our teachers are experiencing learning just like we are. And so that's a really powerful piece that's there. So it will, and then you guys are welcome to ask them questions. I will ask their teachers when they're done to speak a little bit about a saying that we use is why this work, why this way? And so what that's meant to them as teachers as they've made these adjustments in their practice with their kids, what they're seeing. And the 2 that are behind you are also part of a new position we began this year because we don't have instructional coaches at high school, because it was a model that didn't really work. But this year we've created peer collaborative teachers under some pressure from the principals. And we have at both high schools, we have 2 teachers who are 0.5 in the classroom, and they're 0.5 what we call peer collaborative teachers, which really is a coaching, but we have them at both high schools. Their focus isn't all the teachers in the building, it's really the lead learners, and how do they help them think about the things that make a difference in learning that the students that are here are going to talk about. All right? All right. Who wants to be the lead off? Come on.
Hello, my name is Giovanni Durazo. I'm a senior at Desert View High School. And when she was talking about agency earlier, when I first heard about it, I thought it was just like those buzzwords. Like I didn't really know exactly what it meant personally, but especially working with the West Ed and the Roar Institute and all the experiences that we did, I really felt like I really get a better understanding of what it was. And to me now, agency, instead of just being something that everyone talks about, now I feel as you taking charge of your own learning, and especially like in the classrooms, like especially with their classrooms, because we do these things every week called weekly reports, where we kind of assess our learning as we go, which kind of like it falls into a formative assessment. And I really feel like the way that I'm learning is a lot different, because instead of just being bombarded with a bunch of information, I'm able to actually understand and absorb it, and then they're making sure I help absorb it as well.
And as she had mentioned, what was your name again? Sorry.
It's Kevin.
Okay. Sorry, it's hard to pronounce. As she had mentioned, I believe all of us have had them in the past before, and we've all seen their classrooms change. I'd say the most notable one would be Miss Benton. Miss Peru in the past has used those weekly reports that Gio mentioned, and what it is, or as Gio said, it's just like a weekly assessment to see where each student stands in the classroom and their understanding of it. And over time, I think they got to talking, and now Miss Benton has it as well in her classroom. So I can definitely see the connection between the 2 classrooms, and definitely how my attitude in both of those classrooms has changed. A lot of the other classrooms, it's really just like busy work to get to a test at the end of the week or at the end of the month, and then we move on. But as for these classrooms, you're really able to see like your progress as a student, and they really encourage it.
What was your name, son? And
Oh, sorry,
your-
it's going
your
to be
class?
Aiden Rains.
Senior, junior, freshman?
I'm a senior as well.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Shade Pena. From Desert View. I'm also a senior. Like Eden said before, we've seen through the years, we've seen a lot of changes through both of my teachers, and so far they've improved my understanding of my own learning and the way I learn, and which is really grateful because from those skills I take them to other classes which don't do the same thing, which helps me better understand. Instead of knowing something, I understand it and know how to explain it. So I could see the difference between their classes and other classes, where other classes is just you need to know things instead of actually going through the process and understanding them. And with them, it's just it's more group based, which we bounce each other's ideas off, which helps us better understand a topic.
Hi everyone again. I'm Marissa, a senior, and as Miss Pam Benton said, she was talking about how we attended the virtual symposium conference, and I learned a lot from it. I was able to get a deeper understanding of my learning in both of their classes compared to all the other different classes that I have. In their classes, they do things differently. We have, as Aiden said, weekly reports, and we have success criterias, and I think that's very beneficial in both of their classes because it helps me take what I know in their classes and use it in the other classes. So I really want to thank them. So yeah, thank you.
Hello, my name is Casey. I'm not a student at Desert View. I'm a teacher at Desert View. I teach the dual enrollment English class, and then I also co-PCT with Miss Brew back here. So to answer the question, why this work, why this way, I've really entirely 180'd my pedagogical understanding of instruction since starting formative assessment. So to me, you can't talk about instruction without talking about formative assessment, because one of the real pivots that you have to make when you begin this process is thinking of instruction as a partnership with your students, not as me being a guru of information that I just provide to them with the generosity of my heart. It's about us learning in conjunction with each other. So we're not separate. We're on the same team. My students and I are both learners, and we have to operate within the classroom space in that way. And so through that pivot about seeing myself as their partner rather than kind of above them, it changes how instruction happens in the classroom. So instead of just rooting it in just content for the sake of content, we really have to think about what they spoke to about how am I making this information transferable for them so that this is purposeful and they don't just have to memorize a bunch of facts because I asked them to, but that they have tools that they can use in different classes or in their futures or in their careers. And so through that, we establish things like learning targets and success criteria where students kind of have a guide for how instruction will go for a day or for a week or for a whole unit, and that they're a part of it. It's transparent to them that this is what the learning intentions are. We also use formative assessment tools so that myself and my students constantly know how they're progressing towards those learning goals so that they understand that it's not just me kind of handing them grades and they just have to guess why they got certain grades, that we're always on the same page and we always know why we're on this path. And then finally, building student agency so that the students have the ability to say, I'm a member of this classroom and I have a say in what happens and I understand how my learning impacts me. The changes that the district has made collectively have been incredibly beneficial to kind of promoting this continued understanding of how instruction can be beneficial for students. So things like having opportunities to learn with my peers with the West Ed consultants and things like the grade change have been really helpful in kind of deprogramming older traditional models of instruction and creating space for new, really impactful models of instruction. And so I think it is a tremendous lift to do if you've taught formative assessment and to learn it. But I think the benefits of it are countless, and I can't not undersell it, because to me it's one of the most important things that's ever happened to me in my career, and I think it constantly benefits my students because they're an active member of a learning community.
I'm Larissa Peru, a Desert View teacher as well. I teach calculus and stats, and then the co-PCT with Ms. Benton. She said a lot of the good things, so I'll see what I can add. I think one of the things I really thought about going into teaching, because I knew I wanted to do this for a long time, was I was really worried about becoming a teacher who was kind of stuck in a rut and not really knowing what to do and falling into the same routines, and I wanted to avoid that at all costs. I think this has really helped me to do that. Oftentimes when the district recognizes that teachers are like doing great things in their classrooms, they're kind of left to continue that good work and never really challenged or pushed to do more. And I feel like that's what this work has done. As Ms. Benton spoke to, like, we have these opportunities to collaborate and think through how we can really revolutionize the way that we're teaching that we haven't necessarily been pushed to do before. And so I feel really grateful for that, because I don't feel like I'm getting stuck. I'm thinking about different ways to change what I do in the classroom. Specifically because I teach math, there are often students who come into the class with a lot of anxiety, and I want to make sure that the way that they interact with it honors who they are as students and who they are as people. And I think by developing agency, that's allowing them to kind of shine in the content area beyond just who they are as a student, but like what they bring to the classroom that is unique and is purposeful to them. And so I think having the opportunity to do this work and think through these things and actually talk about it with these students has been really eye-opening, because we're kind of breaking down the wall of like student and teacher, and it is truly a partnership and how we develop our students' understanding and who they become beyond Sunnyside.
Thank you. Hold on, don't go. Let's like.
Good evening, Superintendent Castellum, President Quintero, members of the board. I'm Angelica Duddleston, the very proud principal at Desert View High School. Our students are amazing. I know you heard from them and you've seen them. We've been lucky enough to highlight them all year long. These are 4 incredible seniors that really showcase the outstanding students that we have at Desert View. And there are so many out there that we want to invite you to come see. We started off the school year, before the school year ever even started, thinking about what do we stand for? Who are we at Desert View? And we really stood back and we came up with, at Desert View, we are all learners. You heard that from Ms. Benton, you heard that from Ms. Peru. That includes me. At Desert View, learning is not just for our students. They really help us to define what it means to be a learner, but learning is happening all over. When Casey and Larissa talk about their role as a teacher, that is crucial to us making gains and changes on our campus. So as our peer collaborative teachers, their role is to work with other teachers. So it is to grow that learning environment. It is to really grow the practice. It's to push one another. I think about the way when I first started in administration, what professional learning looked like then and what it looks like now. And now it is truly learning from teachers, by teachers, for teachers. I have to get out of their way, right? What a great thing. I also get to be a part of it, right? As a principal, to be vulnerable enough to be a learner with them. And that's what we're doing at Desert View. That wouldn't happen without these incredible teachers and the role that they have, and peer collaborative teachers, right? That's more than just a coach. They are in the classroom, they are working. They're classrooms that we can go in and visit. We take other teachers in there so they can see how students are learning. And they're also pushing practice with other teachers and growing themselves. They talk about how they had Miss Peru and Miss Benton just last year and have them today and how they've grown. They continue to grow. And the beautiful thing is that it's spreading. And that's what I'm most excited about, is that we are really starting to get this spread. So I invite you to come see these kids in action and see our teachers in action when it comes to learning.
So I'm going to sit in your classroom, but don't call on me.
Oh, that's not going to happen, right? Questions or comments or anything for the students, teachers, or principals for this group before we move on?
Mr. Jaramillo.
It's a wow moment. It's nice to hear that we're doing different things as far as learning goes, because I think this was thought of a few years back, and it's nice to see it in place and in action, along with the students, the phenomenal students we have here. But my question is it possible to engage other teachers? I know you're doing it, but other classrooms that could function in the same manner as these young ladies that are doing?
Not only is it possible, it is
Happening.
the hill I will die on. It has to occur, to your point, because if nothing else, our kids deserve that, right?
Exactly.
And so for them to go from class to class, when we have kindergartners who come up, we talked about this many years ago. So if we started this work in elementary, we have to have a place for students to go in middle school and in high school to grow that. So but to one of the two said it's a big lift. It requires a lot of adjusting to the way we've always done, and that's really hard. It's hard. Things are hard, and it's really hard. But we could do hard things, and it's worth it to do that. So it is our team and our push with the principals, and we push them. If you want to see some sweating, come to the principals meeting, because we push them equally as hard, because we have to figure out how to do that across. So we are making progress, not as fast as I want, but we are making those progress to do that. I will tell you that our team sits at my table for tons of hours over the month to say, how do we do this better? What are we missing? Let's talk to the teachers. Let's talk to the students. Let's talk to the principals. What adjustments do we make to make sure this isn't about spotlighting? We have 4 great ambassadors, and we can find a whole bunch more who could speak to it and do that. They're helping us. They're teaching us how to do that in that space. So it is a little bit of a slow go in places and times, but it is our intent that graduate profile that's behind you truly means what it says.
And how would you recommend reaching out to those teachers that are stuck in their old ways of teaching? You brought up, and
Yes.
I've seen it in action, and they're stuck, and
is.
it's been working for them for many years. But I knew there's different ways of accomplishing what you want to accomlish to include your students and have that collaboratively and working in that communication that has to take place in the classroom.
Well,
and a lot of times it does. It's a one way. It's me and you guys.
These two had an experience
Yeah.
where they,
Yeah.
on their own, this was not us, on their own, figured out a way to bring it to some of their other teachers. But talk about that.
So that's a great question, and that's our entire jobs, that question.
Because I know it's going to be hard.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
So
It's a challenge.
Some of the things that we have spent a lot of time with is learning about how to invite people to learning rather than mandating that people
Right.
do. So one of the things that Ms. Peru and I have focused on in like our role at Desert View is like thinking about how do we use formative assessment just like we do in the classroom for teacher learning, right? So if we're not basing things on evidence and we're just basing it on assumption, then we're not going to ever see movement, right? So we spend hours in meetings thinking about, okay, what evidence do we have from professional development? What evidence do we have from conversations with teachers? And then what does that mean about how do we help them move forward? Additionally, we've had trainings with some of the West Ed people about how do we like help people move forward in things. And so we've learned about things like concern-based adoption models, and that kind of helps us figure out like, so if someone is stuck at this point, what makes sense to help them move forward? Because everyone will be stuck at a different place at a different time. Even she and I, who have been doing this for a lot of years, get stuck. Even they get stuck. And so it's about how do we understand how people move forward, not just saying, go, like there has to be sort of understanding of that piece. And then additionally, like really, and Larissa kind of spoke to this earlier, is like really fostering interest where there is interest. So last year, she and I kind of felt stuck, like we weren't being pushed as much as we wanted to. And so we kind of created our own little PD pod of people on our own time. We met out of contract hours initially and kind of just had big conversations there. And so it wasn't a lot of people. It was just people that we thought might be interested in it. And then those people started having some other conversations with some other people who were then also interested in it. Yeah. And so it wasn't like after we met, there was like 100 people interested, but there was 10. And that was more than 2, which was just us at the beginning. So from 10 to 12, that's a good, or from 2 to 12, that's a good jump. And so we're really focusing on how do we make moves that make sense for where we are and where we want to go, not just kind of ramming our head against the wall. And And so I think that to me is like when we think about moving forward, we think about rooting it in evidence that we have about teacher learning, and we think about fostering the interest as it comes up and addressing people's needs where they are, not where we wish that they would be.
Right.
I guess.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And these two PCTs, the other schools, all the K-8s have instructional coaches that are full-time out of the classroom. And so the Sunnyside has two PCTs as well this year. And so they all come together. So one full day of West Ed, and then we bring them in another at least half a day during that month to really try and build that skill development so that a lot of that learning is supported by the principal's push, but that the coach's primary role is with their teacher learning.
And then one more question.
Sure.
We have these phenomenal students here with us tonight, but how do we reach that one student or a few students that are really, really struggling in the classroom? You know, and I think that's the biggest battle we have.
I agree.
Not only here, but nationwide.
It's a huge issue.
Yeah, it's a huge issue.
I'm curious if you guys have any thoughts about that. Come on up, Aiden. Don't trip my thing right there, but.
All right. So with their classrooms, I know there's a lot of students last year that I had in my classes that it was really just grade focused. They weren't focused on learning the topics. That wasn't really their interest. They were just, I want to pass so I can pretty much get out of here. I can graduate.
Exactly.
But I've noticed this year, a lot of them are actually genuinely interested in learning the topics
wanna be there.
themselves. Yeah. They'll I've had some people reach out to me and ask me if I can explain the topics to them, and I've helped them.
Good.
And I mean, they've told me like how they've done on tests, and they're like really proud with how far they've come from just wanting to like pass, and then they're like, oh, I got this score on the test, like I'm surprised I did that well, just based on their own understanding and stuff like that. So I mean, I feel like if there is like a desire for that student to learn and they do want to like go higher up, there are like opportunities in these classrooms for them. And the students, I feel like we're a little bit better at it. I'm not saying we're like experts or anything like that, but maybe. But yeah, like we're able to help them a little bit. And I feel like we don't know anything. We don't know everything either. So there's definitely times where we need to reach out to other students. And it's really just one big like community of us sharing our knowledge. And then the teachers themselves are there to back us up and pretty much just support that, make sure that we're on the right track.
And it's really good to hear from the students how it's working for them, but how you helping other students and how it could work for them as well if they apply themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And I think that idea that they just presented about helping teachers from the inside out, I think we don't leverage this gift that we have as much as we should with students in the classroom. And then it's on us to create the occasions, to create the environment for that kind of learning to occur, because you can't mandate learning any more than they could mandate PD, right? But you give it this, I tell the coaches, an irresistible invitation. Like, how do we create that? So even the student who doesn't want to finds himself being or herself being sucked in by their colleagues, by their teachers, by whatever it is to get them there. But we have to get all the classroom spaces to where that's the norm. Like that experience is the norm. And that just creates, because we're going to have to think of 1,000 different ways to reach every single student. And then we need to. But we got to have the space for that to occur. And I think our students, and we learned in UVA a long time ago, they use that saying, says, go to the Gemba, you go to the source. Go to the source. And if it's students who are struggling to be motivated or whatever, then let's ask them why. You know, let's have that conversation with them to tell us what's underneath that. And then what are our adult moves to make those changes, even though those adult moves are really hard to do sometimes.
Thank you, teachers.
Any other questions? No. Do you have a question? Ms. Hernandez, do you have a question? Is she done? She had to leave through connectivity. Oh, okay, sorry. Mr. Castellum.
I just have a few comments. First of all, I just want to thank our teachers here today and our students for taking time from their schedules to be here and demonstrate, you know, your experience. You know, I look back and I think, you know, we owe it to all our students to have this learning experience, right? And so as I took notes, as our students are speaking, you know, you hear words like agency, you hear words take charge of your own learning, progress as a learner, take skills to other classes, group base, deeper understanding of my learning. that's not rehearsed. I mean, these students didn't even come in with notes or a speech.
They didn't even know.
Or the phone. They're speaking to their experiences. And you know, I love the feedback they give to their teachers, right? And kind of coaching their teachers as, you know, they're up here. And it's that vulnerability, right? Of you know, teachers being vulnerable, students being vulnerable. But that's a culture, a classroom culture that's grown. And you know, these students are empowered. And so, you know, I have to say this, you know, or else it's going to bug me all night and I'm not going to sleep. But I have to say, you know, the way we do school has changed. You know, we have to get away from, and I also say it hasn't changed, right? When we talk about compliance in the classroom, compliant behaviors, you know, and I did this mistake as a teacher, right? I thought I was a great teacher because I could get all my kids to be quiet, sit in rows,
turn in their work,
do what I say, right? And so I was a great teacher, right? Because they did what I said. Doesn't mean they were learning anything, right? It was just a compliant behavior. And so we still see that a little bit. You know, you go into their classrooms, it's just this organized chaos, right? You have groups, you have kids interacting, you have kids not afraid to take risks, but it comes down to intentionality, right? Intentional planning, intentional learning. And, you know, you're right, Mr. Adamio. I mean, we don't have enough of it yet. And it's a work in progress. And you know, we have pockets of great success, but that needs to be in masses. And that's what we're trying to do here, you know, because they all deserve that experience. And I'll be the first to say, you know, before even coming into this role is I've never been a fan of consultants. You know, I just feel like they're there to grab the money and go, right? And so, but I do have to say, working with West Ed and the leadership of Nancy Gerzon, we've built a collaborative working relationship, a learning relationship. And you know, I think if you ask teachers, if you ask principals, I think most of them would agree. You know, you have you recognize faces. You know, she meets with coaches, she meets with assistant principals, lead teachers. We're trying to spread that, right? We're trying to spread that because it's the right work. So I just want to say, you know, I'm proud, you know, of our students. I'm proud of our teachers. I think it's headed in the right direction, but there's a lot more work to do, and we know that, right? And so, and lastly, I just want to take credit for that. Sorry, Ms. I did hire both of these teachers when I was at Desert View, so I'll just end it with that. Thank you. I didn't teach him any of that, though.
Thank you all for all your time and energy and I will be in your classrooms.
Good, right?
Yes, we will be investigating and we will be learning as well. We always never stop learning, never.
Thank you guys.
And so I appreciate you all. Thank you.
Thank you guys. Appreciate
Thank you.
Thank you.
And as there's one more, you guys can sit down if you want, but as we go to the upcoming highlights, I want to tag on something that Mr. Castello said. There was no prep for this. I never met with them. I called Ms. Duddleson before the break. I'm like, we want you to come and talk at the board meeting. They came in here, I don't want to say unprepared because they're prepared because they've talked about this and they understand it. But that's what I was saying. When you have students who can talk about learning, that's special. And so that is that piece that we are committed to figuring out how we do this. So for the rest of the work, we're done. No, just kidding. But as we move forward, even in the space, we're hosting those learning excursions. This work, what you saw showcased with Desert View, is work that we've done for a long time at our elementary school. 6 years ago, we really started this. We started it in pockets, and we're continuing to work and spread that. It's in all 21 schools. It's in Star, it's in Challenger, I see here. I saw Santa Clara is in the room, Esperanza is in the room, Summit View is in the room. You know, all of these places where this work is occurring, that's the commitment too. The elementary grading work will begin this spring. The adjustments to their reporting procedures are much less intensive than the secondary grading pieces are, but that committee will come together, begin making recommendations. We'll bring them forward to the board as well. They already exist in a standards-based grading, so for them it's more refinements, sort of the systems, and it's very subjective and it varies greatly if you're a student at one school to another. We need to clean that up. So a lot of the work for the elementary grading will be centered around that. In the spring, closer towards the end of the semester, we'll regroup our secondary committee. Remember, that was a committee of 80 teachers from middle high school. We'll bring them back together to talk about, okay, where are we after a year in this system? What are we still learning? What are our adjustments that we need to make? We've been in pretty close contact with the ADs, ACOs, and coaches around what does that mean for eligibility and how do we communicate that. We are in very close communication around transcripts and what does that mean as you transcript new grading policies, all of those pieces. So we will revisit all of the grading pieces again in the spring and updates on other pieces that we have. But just wanted to really welcome back this new year. I will tell you from the CNI space, I appreciate Mr. Costello's support in this and also the airtime with the board to be able to share what happens in teaching and learning, because that's the heart of what we do, the kids that we have here, and for us to be able to showcase some of the things that are happening. So much appreciated, and appreciate the board's support. You didn't even know you've been given it, but now you have. But you've given us and really backed us in the things and the directions, because some of it sounded kind of crazy a few years ago in what we were going to do, and just appreciate the vote of confidence, I guess, for our team of leaders to really move that forward. So appreciate that.
One more comment.
Real quick. Oh, go ahead.
Real quick,
Robert.
real quick.
Mr.
No.
Mr. Jaramillo.
We have to reach out to those teachers that want to learn, and that some of them don't want to learn. But it's really neat when you jump into something and you learn what you're trying to learn and put it into place. I'd like to give kudos to Mr. Castro back there, because when we had the grading system, we updated to the computers and all that, and the laptops, and we had to, I was clueless in the classroom, but I reached out to the source, and that's why I feel a lot of teachers don't do that. They're stuck in their own ways and don't want to learn, but they themselves have to take that initiative. So thank you, Mr. Castro, for helping me out, and that, and don't be afraid not to know.
Right.
Because you're going to learn.
That's right.
And that's what we have to press on with. Thank you.
That's what I appreciate. We had our principals really approaching this as learners, because if you come as a learner from the top, and Mr. Gaston is a great example of that with us as well. If you come to this as a learner, then more people are willing to be vulnerable and learn.
Thank you.
Is that clip available on the website?
Not yet, but we can make it available.
That would be
I
great.
will. Yes, we'll do it. And it's a really powerful clip, and it's just a clip of them answering questions from the panel. It's on the. It'll say Aurora Institute, and it's a link that's on there. And we actually have the full conference. We can't post that whole thing, but if you want to see their whole session, I'm happy to share that link with you. It's really top notch.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
The 2022-2023 calendar, who wants that?
Good evening, President Quintero, Superintendent Costello, members of the board, members of the audience. I don't know how riveting the calendar will be, but we will do our best. I think the good news is that when we presented to IBB, everybody was unanimous about keeping the calendar that we have this year, sort of duplicating it for next year. Before they had decided to recommend this calendar there was a concern about teacher absences on the day before Thanksgiving break. And so this year we built in where Wednesday was a holiday, so we wanted to do a comparison about did it make an impact. Last year we had 293 absences, staff absences. And this year was cut in half. We had about 157, which was much more easier for HR to look for substitutes. So we appreciate the fact that it did make a difference in changing that date, giving the extra day before Thanksgiving seemed to cut down on the staff absences and be supportive of students in the classroom. We also checked other districts, and they are in alignment with our calendar as well, too. So that seems to work for families who have kids in different districts. Anything else that we think we'd like to share that came about from IBB?
I think it was just overall a really easy process, and we came up with one draft without the need of having to present two to staff for voting and just prolonging the process. So it was pretty seamless, and there was unanimous consensus from everyone, all the groups. So that made our job a lot easier.
Makes it easy.
Uh-huh. Any questions? No? So that was my question, was Thanksgiving Day before Thanksgiving. That was my question. So you answered it. So do I hear a motion to approve the 2022-2023
I'd like
calendar?
to make a motion to approve the academic school calendar for the 2022-2023 school year as submitted.
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Mr. Bustamante?
Yes.
Mr. Jaramillo?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintero?
Aye. Thank you so much. It was easy. Do we have suggestions for any future agenda items? No? Hearing none, we have no unfinished business. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Mr. Bustamante?
Yes.
Mr. Jaramillo?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintero?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Oh,
Thank you, Ms. Dunn, for sticking it out with us tonight.
you couldn't stay away. Okay, meeting adjourned.
You're more than welcome to come back in 2 weeks.